Picture a rusted World War II ship, the BRP Sierra Madre, stranded on a remote reef, Second Thomas Shoal. Its corroded hull, battered by decades of salt and storms, stands as a silent witness to a high-stakes maritime standoff. The ship's presence here is no accident. It was deliberately grounded by the Philippines in 1999, transforming it into a symbol of resistance and sovereignty. This battered vessel is no relic, it's a frontline outpost, Manila's claim in the contested South China Sea. Filipino Marines live aboard, enduring harsh conditions and isolation, their mission clear: to hold the line against encroachment. The Philippine flag flutters defiantly above the rusted deck, a daily reminder of the nation's determination to defend its territory. On a recent morning, a Filipino supply boat braved the waters, carrying food, water, and fresh troops to the Marines stationed there. These resupply missions are lifelines, essential for the survival of the outpost and the morale of its defenders. Each journey is fraught with uncertainty, as tensions in the region continue to escalate, but the mission was anything but routine. The crew's faces were etched with anxiety, aware that every trip could turn into a confrontation. The South China Sea is unpredictable, and danger can appear without warning. Suddenly, Chinese Coast Guard ships appeared, larger and more aggressive, boxing in the Filipino boat. Their imposing presence sent a clear message: these waters are under Chinese control, and any challenge will be met with force. Radio warnings blared: turn back, you're trespassing in Chinese territory. The air crackled with tension as the Filipino crew responded, asserting their right to resupply their own outpost. The standoff was not just about territory, but about national pride and international law. The Chinese ships cut dangerously close, a show of force meant to intimidate. Their maneuvers left only meters between steel hulls, raising the risk of collision and escalation. Every move was calculated to test the resolve of the Filipino crew. Then, a water cannon roared, shattering windows, damaging the supply boat, a clear act of aggression. The powerful jets of water were not just a warning, but a physical assault, leaving the crew shaken and the vessel scarred. The Filipino crew pressed on, documenting every moment for the world to see. Their footage would become evidence, shared across social media and news outlets, exposing the reality of the confrontation to a global audience. This wasn't an isolated incident, but a snapshot of a relentless struggle for control. Similar standoffs have played out again and again, each one adding to the region's volatility and uncertainty. China claims nearly the entire sea, ignoring a 2016 tribunal ruling that invalidated its claims. Despite international condemnation, Beijing continues to expand its reach, patrolling and fortifying disputed areas. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan all contest these waters. Each nation has its own stake, and diplomatic efforts have so far failed to resolve the overlapping claims. The result is a patchwork of tension and mistrust. Daily standoffs, water cannons, and near collisions are China's way of pushing rivals out. These tactics are designed to wear down resistance, making it harder for other countries to maintain their presence. It's a slow, methodical campaign for dominance. Artificial islands rise from the sea, military outposts multiply, and blockades tighten, all part of a long-term strategy to control one of the world's busiest waterways. Now, the world's most powerful military alliance is paying close attention. NATO's statements signal growing international concern, as the risk of conflict threatens not just regional, but global stability. The South China Sea has become a global flashpoint. With trillions of dollars in trade passing through these waters, and the world's eyes now fixed on every confrontation, the stakes have never been higher. Why does NATO care about what's happening in the South China Sea, a region that seems so far removed from its traditional sphere of influence in Europe and North America? Why is a dispute thousands of miles from Europe drawing the attention of the world's most powerful military alliance? The answer lies in the fundamental principles of freedom of navigation and the rule of law, cornerstones that keep global trade routes open and economies thriving. Every year, trillions of dollars in goods pass through the South China Sea. It's one of the world's busiest and most vital maritime corridors. If China were to gain unchecked control over these waters, the ripple effects could threaten the stability of the entire global economy. For countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, and France, the ability to move freely through these waters isn't just a matter of convenience. It's essential for their national security, economic prosperity, and the safety of their citizens. The international order, built on rules like the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, is at stake. These rules are designed to prevent conflict and ensure fair access for all nations. In 2016, an international tribunal in The Hague ruled against China's sweeping territorial claims in the South China Sea. But Beijing rejected the decision, raising concerns about the future of international law. If China can ignore international law here, what's to stop other powerful nations from doing the same elsewhere? The precedent could undermine the entire system of global governance. The United States has a mutual defense treaty with the Philippines, a key partner in the region. An attack on Philippine forces could trigger a direct military response from the US, escalating tensions even further. The United Kingdom and France, as NATO allies, recognize that instability in Asia doesn't stay in Asia. It can quickly become a threat to global security, affecting Europe and beyond. Supporting the Philippines and upholding international law is about more than just honoring alliances. It's about defending the very rules that keep the peace and prevent chaos. NATO's involvement sends a clear message: the world is watching, and the international community will not allow the rules to be rewritten by force or intimidation. The stakes in the South China Sea are truly global, not just regional. What happens here could shape the future of international relations, trade, and peace for decades to come. The United States is the Philippines' loudest and most committed backer, standing shoulder to shoulder with its ally in the face of regional tensions. The 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty between the two nations is a cornerstone of their alliance. It signifies that an attack on the Philippines could prompt a robust U.S. military response, underscoring the depth of their commitment. President Biden has made it unequivocally clear: any aggression against Philippine forces in the South China Sea will activate U.S. defense obligations, reinforcing the alliance's strength. This serves as a direct warning to Beijing. These are not mere minor disputes, but potential flashpoints for significant conflict with global implications. U.S. warships regularly navigate through these contested waters, a powerful reminder that these are international seas, not owned by any single nation. Joint military exercises with the Philippines have grown larger and more complex, simulating real defense scenarios, enhancing readiness and interoperability between the forces. The U.S. also provides critical intelligence and surveillance support, aiding Manila in monitoring Chinese maneuvers, ensuring they stay informed and prepared. The message is clear: bullying the Philippines risks a direct confrontation with the United States, a scenario neither side desires. Washington's strategy is one of deterrence, demonstrating to China the potential costs of any escalation, aiming to maintain peace through strength. The U.S. is making its red lines unmistakable, drawing clear boundaries that should not be crossed. The stakes are higher than ever, with the potential for conflict looming large, making diplomatic efforts and strategic alliances more crucial than ever before. The UK is reasserting itself as a global maritime power, with a new focus on the Indo-Pacific. London sees the South China Sea as vital to global trade and law. Its own prosperity depends on stability here. After Chinese aggression, the UK condemned Beijing's actions and called for peaceful resolution under UNCLOS. The UK has sent its carrier strike group, led by HMS Queen Elizabeth, to the region, conducting joint exercises and patrols. 2 British patrol vessels now maintain a permanent presence, training with regional navies. The UK isn't seeking confrontation, but is determined to uphold international norms. By sailing through the South China Sea, Britain signals these are international waters. The UK stands with its allies, showing China that its actions have global consequences. The message: the rules-based order will be defended. France, with territories and citizens in the Indo-Pacific, is no distant observer. Paris has a clear strategy: defend stability, security, and international law in the region. President Macron advocates a third way, not just US versus China, but a united stand for rules and order. France regularly deploys warships and submarines to the South China Sea, exercising freedom of navigation. French forces coordinate with allies, showing a multinational front. France is deepening defense ties with the Philippines, helping build local capacity. Its message: Europe is invested and will act to defend the principles at stake. France's presence is a warning. European powers are active players, not bystanders. The South China Sea is a test of the global order. China's response to NATO's involvement is swift and defiant. Beijing calls Western support for the Philippines foreign interference, accusing the US of stirring trouble. Chinese officials warn that the South China Sea is not a playground for outside powers. State media paints China as the victim of a Western campaign to contain its rise. Beijing vows to defend its claims, warning it will take all necessary measures. The message: China won't back down, and sees NATO's presence as a challenge to be met head-on. China's real response is on the water, intensifying gray zone tactics. Water cannons, ramming, and swarms of maritime militia test the limits of US commitment. Hundreds of Chinese vessels patrol daily, many disguised as civilian boats but directed by the military. These tactics intimidate and block rivals without triggering open war. China is also militarizing artificial islands, building runways and missile sites to project power. NATO warships haven't slowed this buildup. If anything, they've spurred more fortification. China conducts its own military drills, showing it's the dominant force. The risk of miscalculation is high. A single incident could spark a crisis. China is willing to accept this risk to assert control. The standoff is more dangerous than ever. For the Philippines, NATO's support is transformative. Manila, once cautious, is now assertive, publicizing every Chinese provocation. The government's strategy exposes China's actions, win global support, and modernize its military. With US help, the Philippines is building a credible defense, shifting focus to external threats. National pride is surging, but the risks are real. Manila must balance resistance with caution, hoping China won't escalate. The bet: with powerful allies watching, China will hesitate to cross the line. The Philippines is no longer standing alone. The South China Sea is now a global flashpoint, where superpower ambitions collide. The likely future: more gray zone tactics, more standoffs, and a constant risk of crisis. NATO's involvement has changed the calculus, but deterrence is fragile. A single misstep could trigger a conflict neither side wants. Diplomacy remains elusive. China refuses to negotiate on the basis of international law. The standoff will likely continue, with both sides building up their forces. This is more than a territorial dispute. It's a battle over the rules that govern the world. The world is watching, hoping for peace, but bracing for confrontation.